There we go. Sorry, somebody said they couldn't hear me. All right, can you hear me now? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Can you guys hear me now? I'm off mute. So I want to make sure I'm off mute. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. I am. Okay, great. Again, welcome to our Tuesday Live. Thank you so much. Is that marketing account? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. There's Kyle. He's back on. There was a delay or issue with my volume, but you guys can hear me now. But I'm excited. He said perfect. I'm excited. We have a great guest, Mr. Kyle Rodgers, is going to be talking to us about seller leads. One of the hottest topics and the most frequently asked questions from real estate investors. How do you get more seller leads? Well, he's going to share some things that you can do, some tips. One of the things that he's mastered is generating seller leads for free and leveraging Facebook groups. So I can't wait to hear more myself. But before, Mark Exler said, perfect. David, hi, David. Thank you so much for joining. Before we get on, I want a couple of announcements really, really quick. I know that a number of you had asked about the Sub2Palooza event that was going on September 9th and 10th in New Orleans, where I'm going to be one of the featured speakers. That has been moved to online now. So they're not doing the in-person. They went ahead and kind of canceled that with everything that's going on. So that's going to be online now, and I'll make sure and get you guys the link, because I know several of you had asked if it was going to be available online, that you would be interested in registering for that event. So I'll make sure and get you that link. Okay. What else? I think that's it. I wanted to share some other updated information on my TikTok account and how that's going, which is pretty awesome. But I'm gonna wait and talk about that later. What I want to do is go ahead and bring this young man up. Mr. Kyle Rodgers is the CEO of Bot Fox. He's a real estate investor, a Facebook marketing expert. He's also the founder of the Facebook group Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads. He's a husband, he's a father, and he's also a world traveler. Kyle, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm pumped to be on here.
Absolutely. So, and I'm excited to have you. Not going to take too much of your time. David, I'll get you that information, okay? After I talk to Kyle here, but really excited to have you. And I asked you where you were because you and your family, your wife, I believe your child, you guys travel, right? You talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Right now it's kind of dark in here, and I'm in a vehicle, so some of you guys are like, "What's going on here?" So this is my mobile office. Right now I'm in my Jeep Rubicon. My wife and our two daughters, we travel around full time in a Class A motorhome, and this is the place where I can get some quiet and be able to come and drop some bombs for you, give you guys some value. But I travel all over the country and all over the world too, in fact, and I'm able to do real estate virtually. I do virtual wholesaling, and we find our deals using Facebook groups. Facebook groups is organic marketing that you can tap into without spending a dime on advertising, and you can get direct to seller leads flooding your way. So it's a pretty incredible thing. But yeah, and I didn't know you were speaking at Sub2Palooza. That's super cool. I know William Tingle. And if you guys are bringing it online, I might have to show up to that too.
Yes, please do. Yes, I love William. Small world too, but yeah. But yeah, virtual wholesaling, that's what we do as well. And I when I did a little bit more research on you, I was like, man, and I talked to some other colleagues that have used your service and thought it was great. So I was like, okay, not only am I going to have him on, I'm see what we can do. But
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because it's always about seller leads. Now, because I mean, Facebook is a beast within itself. So can you share a little bit or a few tips of things like what kind of groups do you go into? And because I know some groups won't let you just go in and post like, you're interested, anybody in here, homeowners interested in selling your houses. So I know it's deeper than that, but what kind of groups do you target?
The groups that we target would actually surprise you. We completely avoid real estate groups. all together. We're not hitting up real estate groups or FSBO groups or anything like that. And we're just looking for local based groups that are targeted to the local area. They're community based groups that, people post things for sale, and people post like bulletin boards and all kinds of stuff, but they're just local community based groups that we're spending our time in. And that's one of the things that we are conscious of is the administrators and the group rules, because we know that groups are it's like your house, right? And you don't want anybody coming in and breaking the rules of your house. So you have to respect the administrators. You have to respect, their rules. So that's something that you have to look out for and make sure that it's compliant. Not only compliant with the group administrators, but also compliant with Facebook, because Facebook has some limits that they put on you as well. For example, if you join too many groups at once or you overpost, then you can go into what's called Facebook jail, end up in the slammer. And that's not a place you want to be. You can be locked up for 2 weeks or even a month, to where you're not allowed to post in other people's groups, and that can kill all of your momentum. And there's other things too, like you want your account to be at least a year old. You want to make sure it's a real account. It's not some fake account that you created, or account that's been laying dormant for years, because the Facebook algorithm, the AI, the artificial intelligence on that is so sophisticated. It's like military grade. They might as well have their own police force going around and observing everything that we do. So you have to be real careful. The number that you want to obey, the speed limit, is 13. 13 actions a day. So an action.
Guys, y'all write that down. So no more than 13 posts per day, right?
Yeah. So and that's joining groups too. So if you join groups and you post groups in the same day, you would join 6 and post in 7, but you got to stay under that 13, and that's going to keep you under the radar and keep you safe.
Gotcha. So now, what actually do you say? Because I know you have to be strategic with it. Can you just give us, a little of maybe what you would say to break the ice, once you're admitted into one of these groups?
Yeah, there's so many different things that you can say, and so many different styles of post. We call them post copy. And think of it like a bandit sign, like a digital bandit sign. So what you'd write on a bandit sign is very similar to what we're posting in these groups, and they even look the same. Looking for a fixer-upper, willing to pay in cash, things of that nature. And I developed this because I used to do bandit signs. I used to do all that traditional marketing. I've been in real estate investing for the last 4 years now. And when I got started, I went through all of the different hoops that, everybody goes through. I got my YouTube education with all the great stuff that people like yourself are putting on YouTube. There's so much free information. I mean, you can get a full education without spending a dime. You don't have to spend a ton of money in the beginning. And it's so nice just to be able to consume that information. So that's what I did, is I dove in, but it almost felt like it was information overload, because I didn't pick one mentor. I didn't pick one person to stick to. And I was listening, and some of the information seemed to contradict. So I was listening to all of these different people that were teaching. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go full in. And I quit my job. Actually, I've been in direct sales and marketing for a decade now. So I've been in it for a long time, just direct sales, commission-based my entire career, never made a salary, and building commission-based teams to follow me around and go hustle. And a lot of my career was working for DirecTV, selling satellite TV for DirecTV. And I would go to like fairs and trade shows, even knocking on doors, going up to strangers' doors. It was like the school of hard knocks for sales. And I rose through the ranks. I actually became number 7 top salesperson in the nation when I worked for DirecTV. Nice. So I moved up fast, but the problem is I was capped out on my income. Even though I was commission based and I had an uncapped income, there was only so much I could do, because it was seasonal. It was summer work. I'd make about $150, sometimes $200 per sale. Right. But that would get me to the point to where if I was killing it and I hit number 7 top rep one year, And I made, I think, like $35,000 or $40,000 that year. And I got to the point where I'm like, okay, so these guys are having me build teams, and I'm like one of their top salespeople, and this is the amount of money I made, and I had to put money into travel. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, what can I sell that's going to make me a lot more money? In fact, what's something that I can sell that makes the most commission or the most per transaction? And to me, it was real estate. That was it. And I was immediately attracted to the investing side and not the agent side or the broker side. It was the investor side that I was interested in. And I found out that I can get into wholesaling. I can flip a house without doing any of the work, without putting up my own money, without risking my credit. I'm like, this seems too good to be true almost. I'm like, this is crazy. But I ignored my family. My family kept saying, you know, if it's too good to be true. And I ignored them. And I jumped in. I burned the ships, and I went full time into real estate investing right out the gate.
Yep.
And man, I fell flat on my face. I was doing everything I could. Yeah, exactly. Driving for dollars, cold calling, texting, you name it. I was trying it all, and I was just not getting any traction. Yeah. And so I found a mentor that he took me under his wing, and I became his acquisition manager. He was paying me a $600 a week draw, so I could at least feed my family still. Yeah. And it was going to come out of future commission. But any commission that I made, it was based off of how profitable that market was. So any advertising expenses came out of my pocket ultimately in the end, courses and stuff like that. So, but it was such a cool opportunity that the first guy I worked with, Stuart, he was doing flips virtually. He was doing flips in Provo, Utah, North Idaho, Spokane, Washington, and Portland, and some wholesales. But he wanted to go heavier in Portland, and that's where I was living. So he funded the expenses for my education, put me on masterminds, also advertising expenses. And from what I was hearing from my coaches and from him, direct mail was where it was at. Yeah. Like, it's all about direct mail. And he went all in. He started dumping $10,000 a month into a direct mail campaign. And we went 4 months, $40,000 later.
How many deals?
Zip. Not a single one. And man, I was devastated. I was just sitting there with my hands, just ready to walk away forever. Yeah. Ready to quit. I was worn out. Yeah. And you know, that kept ringing in my head, you know, if it's so good, why isn't everybody doing it? I'm like, everybody is doing it. Like, everybody is doing it. Right. And people are getting stacks and stacks of mail just overflowing out of their mailbox. And people were writing back profanity on the envelope and returning it back to me. And,
you cuss you out.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Threatening to call the cops and everything. And I was over it. But the thing is, thank God I was able to break even. I didn't end up being in debt to this guy, and I a little bit better than broke even. I made a little bit of money. It's probably below minimum wage, but I made some money, and I wasn't in debt. So I started to think, I'm like, so I got some deals. I'm going to reverse engineer this. How did I get these deals? And I'm like, Facebook groups. That's where all of my good leads ever came from, was Facebook groups. Some of them off of Craigslist, but most of them off of Facebook. So a light bulb went off, and I'm like, why don't I just focus all of my attention on this and go all in and laser focus into this one thing? And when I did that, that's when everything changed for me. Is like the floodgates opened up, and there were so many leads coming through that I couldn't even keep up at times. And it was like a faucet that I could turn on and turn off whenever I needed it. And that's when things changed for me. And I told my wife, I'm like, let's get out of doing this just in Portland, because this is a rough market. It's very competitive. So I dedicated myself to learning virtual and going out on my own. And I started doing deals in other markets that were easier. And I discovered that I can also find the cash buyer using groups. So not only could I find the seller in the groups, I could find the cash buyer. And that's when I told my wife, I'm like, let's move to Europe. And she's like, what? I'm like, let's burn the boats again. Let's move to Europe. I can do this from anywhere. Let's go. So we collapsed our 10-year plan of traveling the world. Made it happen now, made it happen today. Awesome. And we flew into Italy, and we were all over Italy, and then over in Croatia, and then up in Prague, St. Tropez in France, Paris. just living all over Europe for 6 months straight as we were doing deals virtually in the US.
Yes.
And everything started to blow up from there.
That's amazing. That's an incredible story. And some of that I can definitely relate to as far as working in corporate America.
Yeah.
And also the direct mail. Yeah. And just losing money. I mean, just really losing money. But it's fascinating that you were able to leverage the skills that you learned in corporate America and really hone in and dial in. Number one, backtracking to say, okay, where am I getting the most leads from, like you said, and just kind of work from there and learn how to perfect this particular social media platform to create an entire business for you and in a great lifestyle. So I think that's awesome. We've leveraged Facebook groups, not like you're doing. It's been more so of just referral, if you will, or you go into certain groups and you add value and they see you often and you'll get referrals here and there, but not on the level that you're using. And I think that those of you that are listening, if you're watching the replay, comment below if you are using Facebook groups or if you've gotten leads or deals from Facebook groups, or if you're interested in knowing more. I'll make sure that Kyle, you give your information where everybody can contact you and connect with you at the end of the interview. Okay.
Awesome.
Can you also share, so you have scaled this, and obviously that's your background with developing teams. So you have scaled this to where you're in multiple markets, right? So I'm assuming that there's similar type of groups in other markets that you and your team, market to get leads. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. There's community-based groups across all cities and towns all across the US. And that's what we do, is we're able to do this and teach other people how to do this. Because when I was in Europe and people would see me traveling and doing what I do, I started to grow a community because people were interested. They wanted to hear more. And people just kind of started to flock around me and what I was doing and following me. And I was able to teach several people how to do this. I've helped several investors make multiple six figures within just a couple of months using this method. I helped somebody make six figures within their first 15 days with me, Justin Harrington. And, it's so cool just to be able to share that impact. But the problem was, I ran into a problem. I did run into a problem, is that my daughter was 4 at the time when we were living in Europe. And my wife was working with me and helping me set appointments, but she spent a lot of time on Facebook and booking me, and also trying to juggle that with teaching our daughter and getting her prepared for school. And she had no time, and our daughter had a lot of time. She was just kind of playing by herself, and both of us were just working so hard. Because the thing is, with advertising, you pay for it. You pay for it either with money, or if it's organic, you're paying for it with your time.
That's correct.
Right. And we were putting in time, a lot of time. And I started to get to the point to where I was getting tired. My wife was getting tired. And a light bulb went off for the second time. I'm like, I used to build commission-based teams for DirecTV. Right. Why don't I do that for myself? Why don't I build commission-based teams? And I find people that I don't pay them until I get paid. They're going to use their own Facebook accounts and essentially be virtual bird dogs for me, posting in groups, qualifying the seller in Messenger, and then booking them in with me. So I don't have to do that part. So they're doing the heavy lifting, and it's on autopilot. And virtual bird dogs, yeah. And driving for dollars essentially in the virtual space on Facebook. So that was another big game changer for me, because now I'm able to, I don't own a job. I'm not an operator. I'm an orchestrator. I do work through people. I leverage OPW, other people's work, and I can relax and go on vacation, spend time with my family, and they're hustling all day for me. So that makes it a lot more relaxing for me, makes it a lot more enjoyable, and it's less lonely, because being an entrepreneur, being a solopreneur, is one of the loneliest jobs that you can have. Right? But you surround yourself with battle buddies and good people that you can lead and impact, then it becomes so much more fun.
Absolutely. A solid team. You're absolutely right. And I learned that later on as an entrepreneur as well. So good stuff. So how can people contact you? Now, I am providing or have provided a link to your Facebook group. Is that where you want to send everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to go to my group, guys. It's Group Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads is the name of the group. I know it's a super long name, but you know what we're about. Group
Yes.
Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads, and we're at about 6,500 members now. We're super quality group, good people in that
Yes.
group, and we're always providing value. We have experts coming in every week that we're doing interviews for. I do giveaways and free training and mini courses, so you can get full-on education for free just within that group.
Absolutely. And I love his group. So I've picked up some tips from your group as well. So I appreciate the content and what you do in there. So I've definitely learned some things. But
Awesome.
there's the name, guys. Group Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads. I got the link provided. Go ahead and join his group. And I was just interviewed in the group about a week ago. So yeah, that was so much fun. And thank you again for having me in your group. But if we don't have any questions now, I'm sure we'll have some. I know some people have been popping in. If you're watching the replay, you have questions, please post them below. I'll tag Kyle in there if it's something I can't answer, whatever, or just go ahead and join this group and you can go there and ask questions. So, but Kyle, anything else that you want to share or leave with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things that's going to shortcut your learning curve, because there absolutely is a learning curve in this game, and it can be exhausting if you're trying to learn by trial and error. Do not do that. You have to surround yourself with experienced people, because
Yes.
by tapping into collective knowledge and collective experience, you can collapse time, collapse the learning curve, and get to your success faster, because there's power in proximity. Get yourself around powerful, inspiring people, and you will live a powerful and inspiring life.
Great word. And that is so true. I appreciate you so much. I'll go ahead and let you go. Guys, if you enjoyed, Kyle, make sure and post below. Yes, I know I did. And we'll probably have you back because my partner missed you and she was looking forward to it. But guys, I appreciate you. I know a couple of you had asked about the Sub 2 Palooza. There's the date and the link. Kyle, thanks again. I appreciate it. As always, everybody take care and take action. Be safe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.